Dear students, in the previous sessions, we have seen the FP growth algorithm and a priori algorithms examples, how it is working, and we can see the combinations of the two things, and we find the efficiency of both the algorithms. So in this sessions, we can see how the research is working in this kind of patterns, finding the frequent patterns. So if you see here, research on pattern mining, it is given like a roadmap how the research has been taken into account. You see here kinds of patterns and rule. Where this is applicable is find for the basic patterns. So here we have come across a association rule, closed and max patterns we have seen, and a generator. So now in this same kinds of patterns and rules will be applicable in a multi-level and multi-dimensional pattern. So whatever we have seen is a basic patterns by using an a priori algorithm and association rule, and what are the closed and maximum patterns and the generator. So these are all the places where your basic patterns will be applicable. If you find the same patterns and rule for the multi-level and multi-dimensional patterns, you see it is in a multi-level, you can go for a uniform, varied, or item set based support. So like that, there also some combinations are there. If you go for a multi-dimensional pattern, you'll be having a high dimensional patterns, so that we have seen the inclusions of aggregations in the cubical format and all, it comes under the multi-dimensional pattern. And next one is a continuous data, that is discretization basis or a statistical view where this research is going on with the kinds of patterns and rules in the multi-level and multi-dimensional patterns. So if the same kinds of patterns and rules are coming in the extended level of patterns, then we can go for the approximate patterns, uncertain patterns, compressed patterns, rare patterns, or negative patterns. So when we come across a negative patterns, we'll be going for a outlinear reductions and high dimensionals and closal patterns. So these are all the things where we have come in a extended patterns. So this is the basic kinds of patterns and rules. First, in the research on the pattern mining, we'll be finding what are the kinds of patterns and rules. So the next one will be talking about a mining methods. What are all the mining methods are available? So here there are three methods is there. Basic mining methods, mining interesting patterns, are distributed, parallel, and incremental mining methods. There are three methods are there. One is here basic mining methods. Second one is a mining interesting patterns, and next one is a distributed, parallel, and incremental. So here in a basic mining methods, there is a candidate generation and pattern growth and vertical format. So these are all the place where your mining methods are applicable. If we come for a mining interesting patterns, you'll be coming for interestingness, that is your subjective versus your objective, then constraint based mining, and correlation rules and exception rules. So these are all the place where your mining patterns will be working with the interesting patterns. Then you come in the distributed, parallel, and incremental type. We can work for the distributed parallel mining or incremental mining or a stream pattern. So this is the technique will be work for a distributed, parallel, and incremental. Next, if we come for the extensions and applications, there are two deviations in that. One is the extended data types and second one is applications. If we come for the extended data types, it will be work for sequential and time series patterns, structural type and spatial type, and a temporal type, a image and network patterns. So these are all the extended data type patterns. So if you go for a sequential and time series patterns, mostly it will work for a spatial or a geo kind of data. Then structural will be lattice or a graph patterns, and spatial will be co-location patterns, and a temporal will be evolutionary and periodic values. And your image will be working for your video and multimedia patterns, and your network patterns will be based on your nodes and links. And next one is an application. So pattern based classification, pattern based clustering, and pattern based semantic annotation, collaborative filtering, and privacy preserving. So these are all the places where the research still it is working for in a data mining concept. So one is kind of patterns and rules of people are working doing a research in this area, and other research is parallelly going on with the mining methods, and other research is going with the extensions and applications. So here also kinds of patterns is they're talking about the basic patterns, multi-level and multi-dimensional patterns, and your extended patterns in the kinds of patterns and the rules. The next method in the mining methods, they're talking about basic mining methods and mining interesting patterns and distributed, parallel and incremental methods. The third thing, they're talking about extended data types and applications. Okay. Now in mining a multi-level association rule, items often form hierarchies. Here the items will be in the hierarchy level from top to bottom. It is a flexible support setting. Items at the lowest levels are expected to have a lower support. Items at the lowest level will be expected to have a lower support value. Exploration of this has been given by the Professor Agarwal. See here how it is given here is, so whenever you are going in depth in the tree, your support count will be less. So in the higher level, the support count will be more. See here, suppose there are two ways are there. Always it will be uniform support count or it will be reduced support count. So it is depends upon the framing a tree. So suppose milk. So the people buying milk, the support is 10%. That is a level 1. The minimum support count, if I take it a 5%, so it is taken as 0.5. So if I come for a level 2, so if I keep 2% as a milk means the support count will be 6%. So like that it will be keep on reducing one by one. So here also minimum support count is 5. So it is following. So like that we have making a uniform support. So if we come for the reduced support count here, suppose in level 1 I am keeping a minimum support count is 5, and in level 2 I am taking a minimum support count is 3. So like that it can be taken in the other way also. So one is in the uniform support. So each and every level will be having the same support count. But in the other method, it will be having the reduced support count. Each and every level will be different with the previous one. Okay. This is a multi-level association. It is flexible support and redundancy filtering. So when you come across this one in the hierarchy, we can reduce the duplications also. See here, flexible minimum support threshold. Some items are more valuable but less frequent. So use a non-uniform or a group-based minimum support count. For example, diamond watch camera is a 0.05 support count. So such combinations will not work. So you have to make a minimum support count which is not in uniformity. Just make it as a minimum support count. Bread and milk will be a good combination. So you make it as a support count as 5%. So this is the way how it has to be taken into account. That is flexible minimum support threshold. That means some items are more valuable but less frequency. Diamond watch camera is more valuable, but such type of items will be less frequent. So that is the case means use non-uniform and group-based minimum support count. So make it this and all non-uniformity and keep a minimum support count. But this bread, milk, it can go together. So you can make a 5%. Okay. Redundancy filtering. So some rules may be redundant due to ancestors relationship between items. So it depends upon the filtering. The redundancy can be taken into account. See here, milk, whomever wheat bread. People whoever is buying milk, they are buying wheat bread. So the support is 8% and the confidence is 70%. Okay. 2% of milk is buying wheat and bread, support is 2% and confidence 72%. The first rule is an ancestor of the second rule. See, the first rule will become the ancestor of the second rule. So here redundancy filtering. So this is called here is milk with the wheat bread support of 8%, confidence 70%. If you see second one, 2% milk is the combination of bread and butter with support of 2% and confidence 72%. So the first rule is an ancestor for the second rule. So redundance filtering, some of the rules may be redundant due to ancestor relationship between the items. So the first rule is an ancestor of the second rule. So that is also can be allowed. A rule is a redundant if its support is close to the expected value based on the rule's ancestor. Suppose both the values are equal, then we can tell it is a redundant value. And next one is a mining multi-dimensional association. So here in single dimensional association, we can tell if X buys the milk, then X buys the bread. This is the single dimensional rule. In a multi-dimensional rule, which is greater than 2 dimensions or predicates, we are calling it as a multi-dimensional. So here in left hand side only one product is there and the right hand side only one product is there. So we are calling as a single dimensional rule. In a multi-dimensional rule, there are more than 2 or equal to 2 products, then we are calling as a multi-dimensional rules. So here you see if X age is 19 to 25 and X is the student occupation of the X is student, then X buys Coke. This is a 2 combination. So since it is equal to 2 or greater than 2, then we can tell it is a multi-dimensional rule. So that's what, if the age is 19 to 25 and X occupation is student, then we can tell X buys the Coke. There's a hybrid dimension association rule. There's a repeated predictor. That is, if age is 19 to 25 and X buys popcorn, then X buys the Coke. This is a hybrid dimensional association rule, repeated predicates. Next one is a categorical attributes. It's a finite number of possible values, no ordering among the values. That's a data cube approach. So here categorical attributes means, so everything will be coming under the same category. It will be finite number of possible values. Here you cannot go for a ordering. Next one is a quantitative attribute. Here numeric implicit ordering among the values. That is a discretization, clustering and gradient approach. So such type of your mining is also possible in the association. Okay, mining quantitative association. Here techniques can be categorized by how numerical attribute such as age or salary are treated. See, suppose how we are taking the age, that's a numerical value. How we are taking as a salary, that is a numerical value. So the techniques can be categorized by how numerical attributes are treated. Now statistical discretization based on the predefined concept hierarchies. That is in data cube method, it is a hierarchical point of view. The dynamic discretization based on the data distribution, that is a quantitative rule, how the data has been spread in a dynamic way. Next one is a clustering. It is a distance-based association from one point to another point. What is the distance between the 2 points? That is a clustering. That's a distance-based association. It's a one-dimensional clustering, then association. So deviation, how it has been deviated, that is something that you are out linear. So it is not coming under the same group. We are calling it as a deviation. So if sex is a female and the wages, if we give, men is working per $7 per hour, overall mean is $1 per 9. So this is a deviation, how we are getting from the wages of both the sex of the male and the female. Now static discretization of a quantitative attributes. Discretized prior to mining a useful concept hierarchy. This is a cubical multidimensional view. See here, this is how it has been connected over here. See, this gives age and income, and this is which gives buys. So based on this age and income, we can tell what type of things they will buy. So this is the multidimensional view of the pattern mining. So discretized prior to mining using a concept hierarchy. This is the higher level hierarchy. So at the second level, so third level and final level. Okay. In the relational database, numerical values are replaced by ranges starting from 0 to n value. In a relational database, finding all frequent k predicate sets will be required k or k plus 1 table scans, because each and every time we have to scan a one layer over here. Data cube is well suited for mining. So this data cube is well suited for mining. That is because already we have seen the drill down, roll up. So these are all the operations, slice, dice, everything we have seen in the previous classes. So data cube is well suited for mining. The cells of an n-dimensional cuboid represent to the predictive set, mining from data cubes and much faster. So in which attribute we want or which layer want, we can mine based on our interest. That is a cubical representation of your data, and it is easy for mining also. Next one is a quantitative association rule based on statistical inference theory. Suppose if you finding a extraordinary and therefore the interesting phenomena, if sex is female and wage, if you take its mean is $7 per hour, then overall mean is $9, then we can find out the left hand side is a subset of the population and right hand side is extraordinary behavior of the subset. So this is the contradictions we are finding. So the rule is accepted only if the statistical test is Z test confirms the inference with the right confidence levels. So with the high confidence level, we can accept it. Sub-rule highlights an extraordinary behavior of a subset of the population of the super rules. For example, if sex is female and south is yes, then mean wages is 6.3 per hour. So like that, we can combine with the sub-rules also based on the hypothetical value. The two forms of rule are categorical quantitative rule or quantitative implies quantitative rules. So these are all the examples of finding the rules. Say education in 14 to 18 years means mean wages is $11.64 per hour. It is an efficiency how to make a rule. The open problem is efficient method for left hand side containing two or more quantitative attributes. This is the way how the statistical formula is applied based on the hypothetical value, and first itself it has to be fixed with the population so that we can compare with the left hand side with the right hand side. And since we are always speaking about the correlation and associations, there also a possibility for talking about a negative and a rare points. So rare point is very low support but interesting. For example, buying a Rolex watches. Setting an individual based or special group based support threshold for the valuable items. So if you want to make a high preference for this value, then we have to keep a separate threshold value. That is your rare patterns. It depends upon the person's interest or the applications or the scenario, we can fix the pattern. The next one is a negative pattern. Since it is unlikely that one buys Ford, Expeditions and Toyota, so together Ford, Expeditions and Toyota Puris are likely to negatively correlated pattern. So this is a negative pattern. So such type of pattern can also be, if you are interested, you can go through it. Negatively correlated patterns that are infrequent tends to be more interesting than those that are frequent. So we have also seen where this negative patterns will be working means if we come for the credit card fraud directions, that's what we have seen in the application part itself. So it can be useful for finding people who whether they'll be able to pay the money or not by seeing the behavior of the person, so that can be eliminated. So such type of patterns is also required in a few analysis or few applications. So negative patterns also having the interest part of mining. So here you see support base, how the two items are having a support count. If items set X and Y both are frequent but rarely occur together, then we can tell support of X comma U is less than support of X and support of Y. So it is rarely occurred, then X and Y are negatively correlated. So that means there is no strong correlations between the value X and Y. Problem A, suppose A stores the sold 2 needles 100 packages A and B. Only one transactions containing both A and B. When there is a total 200 transactions, we have A union B is equal to half 0.005. So S of A into S of B is 0.25. where S of E both together is less than S of A into S of B. So this is a negatively correlated. When there are 10 to the power of 5 transactions, we get 1 by 10 to the power of 5. So similarly, we can find out. So where is the problem is null transaction. That is, the support based definition is not a null variant. So such type of contradictions also will be happened in the combinations of a negative correlated patterns. So this is the formula for finding the correlated value item set by using a conditional probability. This is an example how to find out both the two values. This is the time series. Suppose in the times slot AB, how many transaction has been happened and how many events has been happened in a sequence database. That's what it has given here. In A, the event at time 10, the event has been happened 2, 3, 5. It has been given object A 3 times has been happened time slots 10, 20 and 23. The event is 2, 3, 5 and 6, 1 and 23 is 1. So similarly, B has happened in 3 places with the time snap of 11, 17, 21 and 28 with 4, 5, 6, 2 and 7, 8, 1, 2 and 1, 6. And C has happened in the time slot of 14 with 1, 8 and 7. If you see here, this is the time slot which has been given here. So take down 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, this time lenience and the object type. So A, B, C. If you see, 3 objects are there for us, A, B and C. So we are taking A, B and C, how it has been happened. So if you see, at 10, the events 2, 3 and 5 has happened. So at 10, event A, 2, 3 and 5 has been happened. At 20, 6 and 1. You see at 20, 6 and 1. Similarly, at 23, 1. So here 20, so 23 is obviously here 1. So similarly, B, 11, 4, 5, 6. See, 11 will be supposed here. So 4, 5, 6. So similarly at 17, 2. 17 will be somewhat here. So the value is 2. At 21, 7, 8, 1, 2. So 21 will be here. So 7, 8, 1, 2. So similarly, the value of C is 14, 1, 6, 1, 8, 7. So 1, 7, 8. So this is the way how the time series of your systems also will be, data events also will be arranged so that we can mine according to the sequential pattern. So before we have seen the multidimensional pattern. So now sequential time pattern also we can mine with the help of your time stamps and the events. So we'll see next session.